We are live. Hello, everybody.
Hi there.
And well, it's just you and me right now. Yeah, who knows? But it's nice out here. I mean, the air's nice and cool. I got a few people around here smoking, but you know, that's part of it. I thought they made a law you can't smoke on the beach, but everybody's doing it. I got a group of girls over here right in front of me. They're having a party.
Yeah, well, it's illegal to ride on a motorbike without a helmet too. But you see how?
Yeah. Well,
It's,
that's why I picked a girl instead of a guy. I felt a lot safer. But the traffic isn't too bad right now. This is a holiday here, so there are some people from Bangkok here, but not too many. The bars are packed in the afternoons. I mean, the guys are just hanging over the railings and stuff. It's really amazing. But other than that,
that's a lifestyle I'd like to, that I think might be worth talking about. It's not one that you and I are in, but it's
yeah, I don't want no part of it.
It's our peers that do it.
Yeah. Hey, how you doing? Yeah, it's not something I could fall into. I could see being drunk every day and stumble in and stumble home, but a lot of them do it. And seems to be a lot more older people here than there was. But who knows? But so far, my two lunch meals have been at Cheap Charlie's down on Soy Buakaw. Food's not bad, and it's reasonable. It's kind of like a get-go away from home, but that's how it goes. Hey,
Well,
Chris, how you doing?
well, Soy Buakaw, if I'm not mistaken, has become like the new go-to bar, go-go bar street. Is that correct?
Yeah, yeah, pretty much so. It's bars all the way up and down. And this morning when I went out walking, I caught one of the electrical lines on fire. It was sparking. I took a picture of it. Really, really weird. I wanted to wait around and see if the whole damn thing exploded, but I didn't want to get too close. Hey, thanks, Brad. I appreciate that.
Well, I could tell you a little bit about that. It's the reason they
Yeah,
put them
yeah,
up on
you've
the
dealt
reason
with a
they put
lot of
them up
those.
on poles. They're called transformers. The wires up on the top. There are three wires that are way up on top. The lower wires that look like rats' nests are usually
Yeah,
communication lines, telephone and internet, that kind of thing. And they're low voltage. The high voltage electric wires are the ones on top.
yeah.
And the
Those are
three wires tells me, I don't know this for sure, but it's probably about 26,000 volts with
yeah,
13,500 each. That's the way it was in the United States, in New York anyway. And we used to have our transformers underground, and when they blew up, because those transformers do is they take the high voltage and they step it down to a
yeah.
low voltage that the houses can use. I think around here they use around 220 or 250, something like that. And they blow up sometimes. There's oil inside of them to keep them cool, and they're machines. They don't last forever, and sometimes they catch fire and go boom. Now, in New York, where I was a fireman, that could be a headache at times because they're very often in vaults underground, so it made it more difficult for us. In Pattaya and other places around Thailand, they have them up on poles because of the floods. They don't want them to get submerged in the water because they've been blowing up all the time. And that's why they put them up on the poles like that. And I saw this hysterical video once of the Pattaya Fire Department. Made me laugh anyway. And there was a transformer sparking the way the one that you put up on Facebook was sparking. It was just sparking a
Yeah.
little bit and was kind of throwing off some flames and smoke. And they decided to hit it with water and it exploded. It's scared the living crap out of them. And it's like, yeah, you're not supposed to put water on those things. It's just stand by, make sure they don't set fire to anything else, and wait for the electric company to get there. That's what we used to do.
It's crazy. They had guys standing by, but they were in rubber suits and stuff, and they didn't seem to be fooling with it. Hey, Todd, how you doing? You're selling cars now. How's the car business? But it's an interesting little place. There's shops everywhere, and like I said, you walk 3 feet, there's a bar. You walk another 3 feet, there's another bar. And they, from what I could see, when I went through in the morning, there were people rolling out of the bars this morning as I was walking through. Because I left the hotel about 6 o'clock to head to the beach, which I didn't know where it was. I just kind of found my way to it. And then as I was walking down the street, they were stumbling. The guys were stumbling out of the bars with girls on each arm and hobbling down the street. It was kind of a interesting little walk. Hey, David, how you doing? Um, but that's the lifestyle here. We don't see that stuff.
It's
Nobody.
I don't want to judge, the guys that enjoy that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
I'm not a drinker, and so it's I don't want to knock them or anything. And I'm sure there are guys that handle it. That they go, they have a great old time, they party their butt off for 4 weeks. They're on vacation, and then they go home and they go back and they be normal, responsible people. But what you hear about all the time, well, very often anyway, are guys that go there and really get drawn into that lifestyle, and that's all they do is they retire there and they drink and chase hookers. And I guess you don't have to chase them very far; they come and chase you, and it's like they become. I don't. It's just not a great lifestyle. It's really. My favorite story, and it's a sad. Maybe I shouldn't even tell it. It's such a sad story, but it was an Italian guy. Came to Pattaya, and he fell in love with a bar girl, and I don't know what happened. I don't know the details, but the relationship went south, and he was brokenhearted. And he came to Bangkok, and he went to Terminal 21. And Terminal 21, for people who may not know, is this great big fancy mall. There's one in Pattaya, there's one in Bangkok, and there may be more, but I know those two. And there's this gigantic 7-story atrium with stairs that go around, moving stairs that go around. So this big, atrium that's 7 stories tall. And he went up there and jumped off, committed suicide. And what I found amusing is on the ground floor, there was a display of the universe, not the universe, of the solar system. And he landed on Venus. I thought that was ironically amusing. But it's like, that's what happens to some of these guys. They get, they lose their mind. And,
I read a story a while back, and I'm trying to find it because I want to tell it. It was about an American guy who was very, very wealthy, and he came to Pattaya, and he blew everything he had. I mean, he was renting limos, and the limos would show up at the bar, and there'd be 6 or 8 girls pile out of it. Him and I'm trying to find the story. It was about 10 years ago when I read it, and so far I haven't been able to locate it, but it's really interesting. I can see now why people could come here and basically let loose and lose their life savings in a matter of months, or weeks. It's just it would be very easy to do, fell into that trap. But fortunately,
that kind of stuff goes on in the United States too, in Las Vegas. But what happens in Vegas, most of the hotels, they call them bottle girls there. And they're the same as the bar girls in Pattaya, but it's just a higher level financially. These bottle girls are put in place to attract the high rollers from LA and other places where people fly into Las Vegas. There's more money involved. So the people that get involved in that lifestyle in Las Vegas are people with a lot more money than you and I. And so that's why we don't hear that much about them. Maybe they could just afford to take those losses. But I'm sure a couple of them I actually do have a friend who got involved with a woman like that. And it was really, the story had really, it didn't end well, let's put it that way. So, it's like, that's why I know about that. That part of Las Vegas, because of this guy who's a friend of mine. And,
I'd say in Vegas it's probably more prevalent because it's a hell of a lot easier to lose your money over there to a poker table and a slot machine than it is here. And you're talking high stakes.
Although gambling is really easy to find in Thailand. It's I did a video once about a guy I call Stan, which was not his real name, but he was a bookie in New York. He was his father was a mafia guy, And as my friend Stan was growing older, his father told him that things were changing and he should get out of it. And he went in the movie business where he was a what do they call him, he used to do sets. He used to help sets, and he found Thailand. He came to Thailand in about 25 years ago, doing a Martin Scorsese film, and the two of them got along real well, Scorsese and my friend Stan, and they were here for like 3 months filming this movie. They were in Phuket, and they were living like kings, or at least my friend Stan was. He was living like a king. He had a driver and a maid, and girls coming and going, and and he stayed drunk most of the time. I mean, they did have to do work and produce a movie. But, my friend Stan promised himself, when I retire from this business, I'm going to go back there, go back to Thailand and retire. And he did. And what he brought with him was a skill set from his old mafia days. He was a bookie. And there was plenty of gambling for him to get involved with. He disappeared for a moment. Well, I'll just keep telling the story. So, Stan ran 3 small businesses in Bangkok, a massage, a waxing salon, waxing massage place. He had a restaurant and a pizzeria, and he actually got the pizzeria from a guy who owed him money. He was, in addition to being a bookie, he was a loan shark, and that's how he wound up with the pizzeria. And he was just a colorful guy, and I always took, because he's American, he's a Caucasian American guy, and I often wondered how he got away with that. And he would shrug it off; he wouldn't go into the details. But he told me everything that I'm telling you now, and over the years that I knew him, I came to know it was valid. It wasn't just a story. And not only that, my girlfriend knows people that are involved with numbers rackets, selling of lucky numbers that are not the legit kind, and she's made some money in that in the past, although she gave that up. And so I do know that gambling is very widespread, even though it's illegal here. And and when they do enforce it, they're quite strict about it. They'll if you're having an informal poker game on the beach there, they might come and lock you up, if they got wind of it. So, but it does go on, and so if you have that propensity, it's not that hard to find.
I'll tell you a story about my in-laws. They when the brother was living with the parents, he'd have his buddies over, and they had a poker game going one night, and the cops come in and raid it, and he ran, and they caught him. They caught about 3 or 4 of them, but he worked for the government, and if he got arrested, he'd lose his job in the government. So the father went to jail and took the rap for him. They traded one for the other. I mean, they knew it was the son, but the father went and took the charge for his son, and it flew. I mean, he didn't lose his job or anything. But I thought it was kind of funny. Crazy stuff here. Things are a lot different than they are back in the States as far as that's concerned. But,
well, my girlfriend's gigantic family has, they're here in Bangkok and they're up in Loei province, and she has a lot of sisters and this big family. And she started hosting a card game. I don't even know the game that they played. And before she was doing it maybe twice a month. That's right here in the house, and I didn't get involved with it. I'd go down and say hello and maybe have a drink or two and watch them play for a while, and then come back up here in my little apartment. And I later realized she was making money out of it. Then they were playing for nickels and dimes, but they'd play all damn night, and there were 6 or 7 of them sitting around the table. And she got a cut of each pot, which I wasn't aware of until maybe the 3rd or 4th game. And when word got out, it started to grow. And finally I says, I put a stop to it. I said, look, if you're rated, somebody finds out about this and you're rated. She's like, oh no, it won't happen, and that kind of. I said, yeah. That's what everybody thinks. I says, if you get raided and they come in here, they're gonna come up here and guess who's gonna go to jail? It's gonna be the
white boy.
It's my name. My name's on the lease. And it's like it's like surrounded by 9 Thai people. It'll be arrest that.
Yeah, you're going.
It's like, so I put a stop to it. It's like,
I don't blame you. But
that's when I learned it's really, it's really a a popular thing. I mean, you know,
Yeah, yeah.
inside of 3 or 4 games, she had grown to like, you know, a lot of people filled up the whole table, and they were there until dawn. They'd be drinking beer and playing cards and play all night. And, you know, I'd wake up in the morning and she'd be out cold because she'd been up till dawn. You know, it's like,
Well, Leck took some pictures at a funeral that she went to one day, and there she is. Hello, Leck. I'm chilling on the beach. Are you watching your game, or are you at a break right now? But she took some pictures, and basically there was about 15 of them lined up on the floor, and they're all playing cards and money flying everywhere. You know, that was the funeral, that and drinking. But I guess it's just the way it is. Glad to hear that you know someone here in. Oh, yeah. But you know, that's just the lifestyle gambling. You know, you go to these carnivals that they have, and there'll be 15 or 20 of them huddled around a little table, and they'll be playing that little game where she has a like a cover over a number, and you have to guess what the number is, and there'll be all kinds of money flying across that table. Cops walking by, they don't say anything about it. That's just the way it is. It's lifestyle here. She's on the game. Tell me when it's safe to come home, okay? She's sitting in the hotel room. She's happy she got her soccer on the TV and get it on her tablet. So I figured I don't have a room to hide in to get away from it. So I figured I'd come down here. I'd be safer.
you have a beach.
Yeah, I got a beach. Yeah, when I leave here, I'm gonna walk. I don't know if it's north or south, but I'm gonna walk towards Walking Street, see what's down there, and then I'll catch a motorcycle taxi. I'll turn the camera around so everybody can see where I'm at. I don't know if you can see that or not.
Yellow Beach. The noisy Indian guys still there?
No, they left.
I was gonna say should have invited them to be on the podcast.
Yeah, a lot of boats out here too, but it's comfortable. I mean, the beach is nice and clean, and the water, you know, looks good from here. I didn't go near the water today when I walked down. But, I'm curious to see how packed it is down at Walking Street when I get down there. And,
Yeah, let me know. I'm kind of curious myself. I want to, although you know it's been raining like crazy, so I'm sure
yeah,
it puts it
yeah,
on travelers. But
yeah,
let me know how it's doing. I'd be curious to know what the
yeah. I'll
crowd's
take
like.
some pictures or something. But you know, other than that, it looks like the place is coming back to life. It sure did. You know, this afternoon when we got the short time we were able to get out and eat. Um, you know, the bars were already starting to fill up. I when I came through on the motorcycle, you know, I had to. Matter of fact, she took me the same way I walked, and I walked through all the bars that were empty this morning, and they're all filled up now. People hanging over the railings in the streets and shit. So, be interesting to see what it's like at 9 or 10 o'clock when I go back. It'd probably be a wild house, but it's different. Definitely a different world down here. You know, I could I don't mind coming here and visiting, but I could never live here. I just you know it in a way it kind of reminds me of Hoi Hin. Um, you know, it's not real. It's not as clean as Chiang Mai, um, but you know it's not as bad as Hoi Hin. He said, "Did I fly?" No, actually, I flew to Bangkok, and then we took a bus from Bangkok down here. Now going back, we'll fly out of Pattaya and go straight back to Chiang Mai, and we had to stop at Bangkok for 3 days, so we just flew to Bangkok. The bus ride wasn't bad. You were right; it's not bad at all. It was only about
It's a pleasant trip. It's not a
yeah,
big.
yeah, it was only about 2.5 hours. Let me see. I'm trying to read these. I'm doing this on my phone, guys, so it's kind of hard for me to read these. Haven't been to Pattaya before. Is it like Temptation Island? Seems to be a ton of bars. How long could you stay there like a family trip before getting corrupted? That's a good question. I don't know. I depends on how it depends on how immoral you are. I guess I don't know. I guess a family could come down here for a week and find things to do, but it's really there are better places to go with a family than Pattaya. You could go to Krabi, you could go to Phuket. You could hit one of the islands. I'd recommend that for family more than I would Pattaya. Pattaya is more for the single crazy guy that doesn't have to answer to anybody.
Well, it depends on where you stay. Actually, the I wanted to shoot a video, and I stayed 2 nights at the Hard Rock Hotel, which
Yeah,
is not far from where you are.
yeah, it's not
And
right down the street.
and it was a nice little compound, and there were a lot of family people there. No, it was just a
Really?
weekend. I don't know how long you were. It's kind of an expensive place to stay longer than that. But I've been to Pattaya 3 times now with my Thai family, and we rent an Airbnb place that I've been to the same place 3 times
Yeah,
now. That's a townhouse with 4 bedrooms. It's a great big place. It's listed to accommodate 12. We bring 18, 19 people down, and and it's in Pattaya Nua, which is a little bit north of where you are right now. It's maybe a 10-minute drive north of where you are right now. And my girlfriend's family loves it. The kids love it. It's like
yeah,
because they have a big entertainment center. They spend most of the time in the townhouse because it has a pool and it's just a comfortable place. And the whole family has a barbecue and they enjoy the time they spend there. But the teenagers go out and they go down to the shore and take selfies for Instagram, and then the older women at night they all get in one of those songtaos, whatever you call them. She rents a songtao that takes them down to Walking Street. And my girlfriend and her sisters from up on the farm, who aren't used to cities at all because they live out in the boonies, go to Walking Street to go take a look
yeah,
at Walking Street, which they enjoy. They get out Walking Street, then they go and get a foot massage and a manicure. So they really enjoy it. It's like it's not my favorite place in the world, but I've been there 3 times because they have a good time and it's comfortable for
yeah,
me. I go down and do what I do here. I do down there instead of that. So it's you can have a good time with I guess it depends on the family.
yeah.
If it's a bunch of religious Mormons, you might want to find another place to go.
Yeah, I may go down. I may go down there and do some short videos or something like that tonight. Put them up, but it's been probably since I've been on actual Walking Street, probably about 6 years. Been quite a while. The last time we came down here, I don't think we hit Walking Street, and then I was here in 2004, and we stayed at the Cliffs, which is on the I don't know if it's the north end or the south end, but I was a long way from Walking Street. We came down a couple times. It was a lot different in 2004. It's the second time. It was a lot more commercialized and beaches. They've cleaned the beach up considerably since then.
Yeah,
Back
and
then,
you got to remember that the Chinese who aren't coming now, but they, prior to the pandemic, they were a good percentage of the tourists going into Pattaya were Chinese, and there were families. So
yeah,
there are many family attractions. We Westerners tend, because we know about all the old Western guys that go there to chase the bar girls. It becomes an entertaining story. We don't see these other parts of Pattaya, but there
yeah,
are there's that wooden temple, the Temple of Truth, I think they call it, or something like
yeah,
that.
yeah. That is really fabulous. I've been there.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's a nice place to go with a
yeah,
family. And up on the hill, up where the Pattaya sign is, up on that hill are a bunch of little resorts that are geared to family stuff.
yeah.
Just
I think that's where we stayed when we first time we came here. There's a
yeah,
place up here too. There's a temple where they light firecrackers in a barrel. We weren't up there. It was pretty interesting. And you could see the whole bay from where we were at. I don't know where it would be from here. I can't see it. It's probably up behind me somewhere. But that was pretty interesting, and a lot of good places to eat down here. A lot of good.
absolutely. And Jomtien, which is just south of you, the town just south of you, is kind of upper middle class kind of a condominium town, and there's a lot of restaurants and beachside places to go there. When we were there, I would let Ying, my girlfriend's 17-year-old, she was the one who did the planning as to where we were going to go for breakfast and coffee. And she would always find these cute little cafes where they would have Thai food and Western food, and little props for them to go take Instagram pictures with, because that's what they like. And I've had some pleasant times in very family oriented places, around Pattaya. So yeah, it's definitely can be a family destination, and it could be otherwise too. It depends on what you're looking for and who you are.
Well, there's an island out here somewhere too that you can take a day trip to.
A lot.
The one we're going to, yeah, there's one that we're going to that's a little bit further away, but there's one you can take a ferry to that's they say is really pretty, and we chose the other island because it was a little bit further away, and we knew that this is a holiday weekend, so the place was going to be packed. So we figured we'd pick a bigger island than a smaller island. Is the expat crowd different? Could you see yourself hanging out with them? No, I don't. I don't really. I don't think I'd fit in real well here. Most of these guys that I see are kind of hardcore. I'm just not. I'm not into that. So, no, I don't really think I'd fit in with the expat crowd here. I mean, I'm sure there's others here that are more civilized and don't hit the bar every night. But the majority of them, from just what I'm seeing. I mean, you have to understand I'm only here for 3 days, so I may not be seeing it all. But I my lifestyle is better up in Chiang Mai. I guarantee it. It's safer for me too.
About 2.5 years ago, when I first started doing YouTube videos seriously, I was looking at other people who do YouTube, and there's a lot of YouTubers, old guys like you and I, shooting YouTubes in Pattaya, YouTube videos in Pattaya. And there's one guy he's the guy that he always opens up. He's on his motorcycle and he has a very smooth voice. And what's the name of that guy's channel? He rides his motorcycle and he talks in a very smooth fashion on his motorcycle, and then he usually goes somewhere with his girlfriend. Does the same kind of videos all the time. He's very popular. I wish I could remember the name of the channel. And it's just his opening is very distinct because he speaks very professionally. He sounds like a radio announcer. And he had invited anybody who wanted to come down. There was going to be a gathering of YouTube guys, creators. I guess there could be girls too, although I haven't run into any, not in Pattaya anyway. And we met at a bar not far from where your hotel is, called, I'm going to say Hacienda, but it was spelled with 2 S's, so it was Hacienda. So you can imagine what that was. It was just, a typical bar down there with a bunch of bar girls. And I went. I went down for the trip, and I went down to meet them. And I had a very nice time. And what I encountered when I was there, and that was just one night, can't, project that out onto the whole crowd of expats, but we're older, retired guys who were, reasonably prosperous middle-aged guys, middle-income guys who had retired in and around Pattaya. Some of them were YouTubers, some of them were just people who watch YouTube. And this guy's channel, who I can't remember the name of, is a very popular guy.
I think it's Ride to Kicks. Ride for Kicks.
That's the guy. Yeah, Ride for Kicks.
Yeah. He sounds like a
he was very friendly and charming. And the bar owner at the time, I don't think he owns the bar anymore, or the bar, manager, I don't know. He had like a studio set up there, and he used to do NTV channel kind of thing. And I became friends with the bar manager, a guy named Rodney Lerner. And what I liked about Rodney was he was a pimp. I mean, and he was proud of it. He was like, he liked the bar girls. He liked the bar scene. He ran a bar. Now, he didn't seem like a drunk. He didn't drink a lot. He just liked that lifestyle. And
Yeah.
I got to know him. What I liked about him, he was authentic. He was authentic about what he did and what he was involved in. And if you didn't like it, go away. You know, that's who I
Yeah.
am. You know, he was down there, and he was a younger guy. He was in his 40s. You know, I don't think he was 50 yet. And he was down there making his living as a bar manager. And he was actually quite a charming guy. And that's what he does. He manages bars, and you know, and the women that work there, he manages them too. Let's put it that way. And I had a good time. I really did. Now I don't want to be Rodney, but I like, you know, I like the guy. You know, we've
Yeah.
remained friends. You know, because he was authentic about who he was. And the other YouTubers were, you know, like just regular guys. I kind of enjoyed the time that I spent there.
Yeah, Brad. Neither Charlie nor I drink, so I don't think we'd ever have that problem. Drinking too much at the bar. I don't really enjoy going to the bars. You know, you got that boom boom music, and you know, back in the day, I could hang in there with the best of them, but now I try to take it a little bit easy, and you know, I don't really enjoy that lifestyle. I'm more of a restaurant guy than anything else. Charlie got his glasses on now.
Yeah, I'm doing it on my phone. I can't see it
Yeah.
either. So
Well,
Bill
it's
is
hard.
lying to you right now, because when I went on one of my trips up to Chiang Mai to visit him and Lek brought me to a nightclub where it was the
Well, that's
loudest
true.
boom boom
Yeah,
music
you're
you
right.
ever heard. Had a
Oh,
good time, but you know, he's telling a fib right now.
yeah. Well, sometimes you do things for your wife that you don't normally do. She
There you
wanted
go.
she wanted to see that. You know, we have got on the 21st of November. We have got tickets to it's a 3-day concert festival out Samong Road, and it's at the old Royal Train place. And it's going to be 3 days. They've got something like 60 bands, and we paid, gosh, we paid almost 2,500 baht for the tickets. So from the 21st to the 23rd, I'm going to be ferrying her back and forth between Samong Road and the house so she can see her concerts. It should be interesting. I'll probably do a video out there because there'll be a lot of kids out there, and she loves her music. And, you know, some of it I like. You know, we went to one. You know, the place that we took you was kind of, you know, it was kind of big, but another place we went to was a small place, and they had a band there, and it was really good. We had comfortable chairs to sit in, and you know, you could sit back and relax. As a matter of fact, I did a short there. There were 4 girls sitting behind us, and when you buy your tickets, you get like 4 beers or something like that for the two of us. We were giving these girls our beer, you know, and they were just having a great time. But yeah, it was okay. NDTVI. I'm not
Yeah,
familiar with him.
that's the guy. That's the guy who was a very pleasant dude as well. He was very welcoming. He's the guy who ran the bar. I heard a story that he had sold Hacienda and moved to another place, and so I don't think he's at that bar anymore. But I'm sure the bar is still there. What I found interesting about the Hacienda, it was directly across the street from a bar called the Whiskey Bar, which was a ladyboy bar. And what amazed me, I didn't go over, but you know, we were pretty close to it, and you could see, is that you would never know that these ladyboys were not born female. I mean, it was like,
Yeah.
I remember that was my first encounter with like that they were men. So, I guess Thailand has mastered that transformation. I think so, if you want to do that kind of thing, I guess this is the place to get it done.
So staying here, I've been wanting to visit, but worried about heat and allergies. Any thoughts? Severe reactions, negative to both. I don't really know on that. I haven't heard of anybody having any allergic reactions. Now, um, my wife is allergic to all kinds of stuff. She doesn't seem to have any problems.
Well,
But
I teach hot yoga, or at least I did anyway. I've been doing it lately, but I've learned how to deal with you know, skin problems. I don't know if that's what you're talking about. Allergy can mean a lot of things, but you know, the heat here is it affects my skin. I mean, just the everyday heat, and you know, going in and out of a heated yoga room frequently. it would cause my skin to break out. And what I discovered here is aloe grows like a weed
Yeah,
here,
yeah. I got
and
one of those in my front porch I use.
you
It's
can
really
get it for
good.
nothing. It's like, and my girlfriend's sister ships us down a bag of it every couple of weeks.
Yeah, yeah. That's
It's
wonderful
the
stuff.
greatest stuff.
Great.
It's just, it looks like a weed. It's a big, not a weed, but it's
Yeah,
a very, and you cut it in
yeah,
half, and the aloe is on the inside, and you just wipe it on your skin, and
yeah. Mhm.
it
Yeah,
was fine
I,
for me.
I do that on my face sometimes, and
Yeah,
if I get a cut or a scrape or something like that, I'll put aloe on it, and it heals up in a couple of days. It's really good.
yeah, it's great
Uh,
stuff. I mean, you pay big money for that in Walgreens. Here, it's just it's a weed. I
yeah,
don't know.
yeah.
Weed is the right description, but it
Great
grows.
to know cost of living that much more there. How does it compare to Bangkok and Chiang Mai prices? I really don't know about the cost of living here in Pattaya. I couldn't tell you. Now the cost of living in Bangkok versus Chiang Mai, Bangkok's a little bit more expensive. I haven't really, I haven't really ever checked on houses here or property or anything like that. So I really couldn't say. As far as food prices, they're relatively the same. From the foods that I bought. In here, can't stand the bars, clubs, liquor, boom, boom music. I am more family. Yeah, yeah, we get along fine. Oh Lord, grass, trees, and nuts. Oh, yeah. If you're allergic to grass, trees, nuts, etc., you might have some issues here. But you can always stay away from them. Just hard to say. There's a lot of good doctors up here that you could probably give you something that would take care of it.
Also,
But
you can get a lot of medicines here over the counter that you would require a prescription in other countries, especially the United States. Like my blood pressure medicine, I would have to have prescriptions for whenever I get it. In here, you just go in and tell them what you want, and they give it to you. And that's probably true for it. The only drugs that they seem to restrict here are drugs, like opiates and narcotics and sedatives and things like that. Those you need doctor's prescription for. But anything that has to do with general health, you can go in and get real pharmaceuticals over the counter.
Brad, the only place I think you'd have a problem is maybe in Chiang Mai because the air is so terrible. Um,
Oh yeah.
3 or 4 months out of the year, it's getting better, but it's still, we still have that time of year where you've got a lot of smog and stuff, and that really plays havoc on Lex. She's got asthma, and when smoke season comes, it's kind of rough on her. But that would be the only thing that I would think of. And Bangkok has a little bit of it too.
Actually, Brad, this is the moldiest place that I've ever seen. I'm talking about Bangkok now, but I've seen it in other cities around Thailand as well. There's a lot of mold here. If you have mold allergies, you might want to try Vietnam. Actually, it was much different there. That same mold didn't exist
Yeah.
there. But there's a lot of mold here. So if you have a serious allergy to mold, you might want to rethink your destination.
I like it over there. I mean, I'm very, very comfortable when I go to Vietnam. Just about everywhere we've been. The only trying to think of any place I didn't feel comfortable. I didn't like Natron so much, but the other cities that we went to, I really enjoyed that.
Also, Singapore is a nice Asian destination for anybody who's never been to Asia. They used to call it Asia Light because they speak English and it's very modern and it's first world amenities. Now the drawback to Singapore is it's expensive, but it's a very welcoming. It's worth the visit if you're not on a budget. If you spend a little money and you want to spend some time in an Asian city. I totally recommend Singapore. You'll have a lovely time there, but bring your credit card. It's not cheap.
I've got a whole party around here, man.
Yeah, invite them on. Hey, come to the podcast.
They're over here having a great time.
Yeah, are they Thais? I couldn't see them. They're pretty far away.
Send me some money so I can send super stickers. That's just putting taking one money out of one pocket and put it in another, but thank you. That's funny. My wife is a hoot, but she's funny. Who's winning the game? Are they still playing, or are you in between games? Or perhaps all the chemicals people spray. Yeah, that's a big thing here. Chemicals spraying. You know, they're not real careful about what they use, and they don't have that many regulations on the type of chemicals that they can use here. I'll tell you a quick story. We had a hotel in Chiang Mai where people kept checking in, and 2 or 3 days later they'd find them in their rooms dead, and happened about 6 or 7 times. And it turned out that about a month prior to that, they had sprayed the beds for bed bugs, and the guy used some type of chemical that killed a bunch of people. Actually, they tore the hotel down and they built something else up there. Feel safe there. What about your spider sensation? Spiders don't bother me. The only thing that bothers me are these little centipedes that look like monsters. I think I sent you a picture of one the other day, Charlie. Wasn't that wicked?
Yeah, it was. I think Will is talking about your urban radar, not actual spiders. That's a Spider-Man reference when he knows that there's danger around your spider sense. Yeah. I think that's what he's referring to. Actually, Thailand is one of the safest places that I've been in many of my travels.
I agree.
It's a very safe place. Now, the environmental issues that Bill is talking to, that's an issue here. I mean, it's like you get, you're saying 4 months. I think it's closer to 5 or 6 months of the year. And it's not just Thailand, but the entire region fills up with smoke from crop burning. From the west coast of Africa to the eastern end of Indonesia, by my estimate, that's about 3 billion people set fire to their crop stubble and anything else that they don't want when the rain stops, and it fills the entire southern region in that area with smoke, and it's irritating as all get out. It's some places are worse than others. Chiang Mai is particularly bad because it's in a valley and it kind of sits there.
In the bowl.
Pattaya is a little bit better. And the further south you go, the southern beaches seem to be better, like Phuket. They got wind blowing and they're kind of out in the Andaman Sea, so I don't think it affects them quite as much. But it's an issue here in the region. And I was just up in Surin, which is about a 5.5, 6 hour drive from Bangkok.
A minute? Okay.
And I drove up there for a visit. I went up to a party, and a friend of mine. I mean, if you're interested, you can look at my last video. It's the one I just put up, and it's kind of an interesting trip to Isan. But the drive up and back really irritated my eyes, and I think it was the air quality. And it's not that bad yet. It gets a lot worse than it is now because it's still the end of the rainy season, so they can't keep things burning all the time because the rain comes and puts it out. But there's my eyes, it took me 2 days after my trip back for my eyes the inflammation in my eyes to go down. Now, I have sensitive eyes. I'm one of those blue-eyed kind of guys with sensitive eyes. But it's, if you're sensitive to environmental issues, it's something you need to consider before you come in. Would you get
just closed up shop where I was sitting, so I'll finish this just walking. How's that?
There you go. The light is unusually good, given that it's nighttime.
Well, we'll walk this way. See what's going on down here. Singapore is way more expensive than 10 years ago. It's become a tax haven. Yeah, I've not been to Singapore, so I really couldn't say.
Well, Singapore is unapologetic about being, it's like a wealth haven. I mean, it's like I used to joke that I lived there for 4 years, and I used to joke that you can measure Singapore, which is a very small city, it only has a population of less than 5 million people, but it's an unusually prosperous place. And I used to joke you can measure it in investment bankers per square meter. They're all about finance. They do manufacturing and international trade as well through there, but they're all about finance, and they're unapologetic about it. It's about the same cost of living, I would say, as New York City. So that's a good comparison.
Yeah. Huh. See where I'm going to try to find a place to light over here somewhere.
So
Are you there, Charlie?
You got a nice background of palm trees over your head. Stay right there.
Yeah, you can see where I'm at. Try to move it back a little bit. How's that? Is that better?
Yeah, you look good. You keep walking along there, somebody's sure to call you a handsome man.
Yeah, well, I don't want to offend anybody by putting them on camera, so I'm trying to be a little bit careful. I'll get over here. There's nothing behind. There we go.
When I was in Singapore, I was working, so I had an income there. Plus, I had my fire department pension, so I had a lot. I don't know, a lot. It's relative. I was doing okay financially, and and I learned my way. I learned, an inexpensive place to rent an apartment, and I knew where to go to eat where I didn't have to pay top dollar. I kind of like big cities, so I was comfortable in Singapore. And, I would go out and splurge in expensive places now and again. But my everyday living expenses were about the same as they would have been in New York. And, I lived in New York prior to going to Singapore. New York's my hometown. So I was kind of used to it. So, very often when I talk about Singapore, the first thing people bring up is the cost. And that's true. If you're a budget traveler, you might want to skip over Singapore. We'll just go through there. It's a gigantic hub, Changi Airport, which is a very impressive airport. They have like 4 terminals now, which is a destination in and of itself. You want to see Singapore and you want to save money, fly into Singapore as a transfer hub on your way to Indonesia, where it's cheap, and get a long layover and hang out in the airport. That'll give you a taste of Singapore. Singapore on a budget. Visit the airport. And I'm not kidding. It is really it's an impressive place.
I've moved out to the beach now. It's a little bit easier walking. A lot of big crowds out tonight. Can y'all see that?
Not really. Just looks like a white light in the distance.
How about that? Oh, well. Oh, man. Yeah, there's a lot of people, a lot of girls out leaning against the palm trees here.
You could probably get lucky with them.
Probably get unlucky too.
Yeah, that's true, especially with your wife watching.
Yeah, I know. Oh, Lordy. I had to move because they closed up the. I was sitting at a place where you buy a drink and sit in their chairs and look around and stuff, and they're getting ready to close up. So I had to move my chair. What kind of visa do you need to stay long? Oh, I don't know. Do you know what kind of visa you need to stay a long time in Singapore, Charlie?
They have a very easy tourist visa. I want to say it was 30 days. It's best to just check with their embassy websites. But for most Western countries, you could just go visit Singapore on it doesn't require anything special. They give you a visa on arrival kind of thing. And I think you have 30 days. To stay there is more difficult than it is in other Southeast Asian countries. I was there on a work visa. I arranged for this visa to happen prior to landing there. And the woman I worked for did all the work. She did all the administrative stuff. And when I got there after 2 days, I went down to their immigration. And like I said, it was set up for me. It wasn't that difficult to do. And I got a renewable work permit. So I was there for 4 years on my work permit. And when Diane, my boss, went out of business, I used to joke, the most expensive yoga studio in the world. I was teaching yoga for her. And it was a really beautiful place. But it's a difficult business, the yoga business. And she wound up, going out of business. And when I lost that job, it was time for me to retire anyway. But I lost my work permit. And Singapore did not have a visa for me. I looked into it because I liked Singapore. I would have retired there if they had a retirement visa. But the only option that I was even close to considering was what they called an investment visa. They had that. And I looked into it. It needed $5 million. I was like, okay, so that's not me.
Yeah.
And, they don't want old people. Because they don't want old people to gum up their health care system. So I'm told. I mean, I don't know if that's a fact, but that's the story behind it. They're not as welcoming to retirees as some of the other countries are.
Interesting.
But you go visit. You want to go and visit, go right ahead. No problem there.
What's the tax structure like over there for your income?
Again, it was kind of complex, and I just relied on my boss to do all that. There was an income tax, but I got it all back somehow.
Oh.
And most of it back. It's like, I don't recall the details, but they have an income tax. They have, property taxes. They have a tax structure, that's for sure. I don't know the details of it. And I know what they have. They have a national sales tax, which I think was 7%. They had a 7% national sales tax on everything. Anything you buy gets an added 7%.
Same as here, yeah.
Yeah, so that's I think that's their major source of tax revenue there, which I guess is one way to do it. And but there was an income tax structure as well. I don't know how it worked, but I remember it being a real tax advantage for me because I had taxable U.S. income plus the Singapore income, and I had an accountant do it. I didn't do it myself, but it turned out to be a tax advantage for me somehow. And sorry, I can't give you details. That's what accountants are for.
Yeah, it is pretty crowded down here. Matter of fact, I'm staying off the sidewalk because there's so many people on the sidewalk. I'm here on the beach walking. I think I'm walking towards Walking Street. I remember it best. It's down this way. Head towards the Pattaya sign, which is right there, and then it's a little ways down. But there's a lot of people, and the side streets are packed too. No, I don't think you can. See if I can get where you can see down the side streets. Traffic is bumper to bumper, but you also have to understand that this is a holiday weekend as well. So there are a lot of people here that from other parts of Thailand coming here for vacation. A lot of people sitting here eating food on the side of the sidewalk.
Yeah, there's a whole lot of. I'm seeing a whole lot of signs that tourism is on the rebound. I know there's a lot of economic problems going on in the world, but there's also, it seems to be a very high demand for tourism. I just read an article today where Boeing and Airbus can't keep up with the orders that they're getting from the airlines because they're all rebounding back from the shutdowns and they're looking for more airplanes. And signs like on the ground like you're showing that there are people back now when it's still raining like mad, so that when the sun comes out here, which it does for 6 months, 5 to 6 months at a time. I heard from a friend today from Montana, and she was asking me if late April, early May is a good time for her and her boyfriend to come to Thailand. And I was kind of curious, how would you answer that?
I haven't really got near in the bars or anything like that, so I really couldn't tell you. I'm usually not out this late. I'm usually back in the room by 7, 8 o'clock. It's kind of hard to say who's drunk and who's not. You should consider switching to Zoom. It promotes interaction with the viewers and builds a stronger following. I'll look into that. I'm using StreamYard now, and it's StreamYard's rather expensive, and I may look at Zoom, and I don't know if Zoom integrates with YouTube or not, but I'm going to look into that because with StreamYard you're kind of limited with what you can do. I don't know if Zoom has more features or not, but I'm going to look at that before I renew my contract with Stream. Let's see. Mostly expats here around the beach. You see families. Yeah, there's quite a few families here with their kids. But most of it is, I would classify them as tourists, and there's a lot of Indians here right now. But there are some families here. As a matter of fact, there's one right over there. See, they've got their little kid on the mat. They're eating and kind of chilling out. And a lot of the people out here sitting on the beach are all Thai people. So yeah, there's quite a few here. Singapore corporate tax 17%. They have heaps of rebates, but slow down under. Yeah, I wouldn't know anything about that. But it is what it is. But who knows? Oh, golly! Now I'm trying to figure out what I'm going to do. I don't want to walk further south right now until I put the phone away, because I'm going to get into a mess of people. So I think I'll hang out right here. Scenery's not too bad, but walk down by the water.
Yeah, wander right into Walking Street and tell them you want to put them on YouTube. That'll make you a lot of friends.
Yeah, probably get beat to death. So you're taking pictures. Yeah, kind of pretty. See if I can get these girls to say hello. I'm on YouTube. Can you say hello to my friend? YouTube? Can you say hello?
Oh, yeah?
Let's see. Oh, okay. They're shy. They don't want the picture on YouTube. Oh, that's funny. But yeah, it's pretty out here. A lot of people sitting around. I'm going to walk back towards this way then. Oh. Nice. It does seem quite safe there, even with all the freelancers and the fence. I've not had anybody bother me yet. Like I said, I'm getting down into Walking Street, and I don't know what I'm going to encounter there. That's why I want to wait till I'm finished live streaming before I go in. No, I didn't get a chance to meet up with Greenie. He's getting ready to go to Singapore to catch a cruise, and he doesn't live that close to Pattaya. He had a little bit of trip, and he had things to do today. So I'll see Greenie next time he comes up, or next time I go down. But we couldn't get our signals. Plus, it's been raining here, so it's kind of hard to get out and about. Let's see. Be nice to retire on the beach side. Yeah. You can retire on the beach here without a whole lot of money. You're not going to live a great lifestyle, but it won't be too bad. Some of these girls don't want their families or employees to see them on YouTube, probably, so who knows. These were not street girls. These are kids, were young girls just out here having a good time. I wouldn't walk up to a freelancer and try to put her on YouTube. I'm sure they wouldn't like that. I wouldn't even try to go that route. But anyway, Charlie, I showed that. What he means by that. Well, guys, we're coming up on 60 minutes, and I'm going to venture down to Walking Street. I appreciate everybody that's come into the channel. I wasn't sure I was going to be able to do this, and then I figured out, I guess a couple of days ago, that I could do it on my phone. Yeah, cruise out of Singapore would be fun. But anyway, appreciate y'all stopping in, and Charlie, I'll talk to you a little bit later, and
we'll see if I so long, everyone.
See if I can't get some decent shorts back here in Walking Street without getting my head caved in, and then I'm going to figure out how to get back to the hotel room. I'll probably take a motorcycle taxi back. I'm not going to try to walk. But anyway, we'll see you later. Y'all have a great weekend, and I hope everybody's safe and having fun. And again, thanks for stopping in. Charlie, I'll see you later, and we'll see you all later. Bye-bye.